Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always with my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. How you doing, Matt? How was your week?
Pretty good. It's a big, exciting week here in the Cincinnati Pickett land because today was the first day of school for the kids, and with my older one starting at a new school, that was extra exciting.
Wow!
And the kids come back to school at UC, the University of Cincinnati, where I work, on Monday. So like tomorrow is a big welcome day, and it's just seeing the campus come to life, after like a summer of it being kind of dormant for the most part, is always an exciting and kind of like I would sort of like it's exciting and kind of like there's anxiety because it's like there's all this nervous energy from the incoming students and stuff like that, and so that's like an exciting time, and other than that, I guess it was just it was a lot of fun going to see the Packer game last Friday. So of course we'll talk about that more, I'm sure.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
That was it's a very like live wire time. How about you, Don? How you doing?
Well, yeah, it's interesting you said that because I just noticed one of the teachers had all the front doors open at the Montessori school here and today, and I was like, wow, it's that time already. I can't believe it. It's just gone so fast this summer. It doesn't even, so, but I'm super excited about football, even if it's preseason. Super great. I'm so glad you got to see Jordan Love's very first touchdown as a Green Bay starting quarterback. That's great. I got to see Rodgers do that.
Nice.
Yeah. That's so fantastic. So let's just, I don't care about my week. Let's just talk. I mean, I'm sure I did some stuff this week, but I don't blur. I did some gardening today. That's about it. Like 20 minutes of it until my back was like, ow! But I can't do much anymore because my neck injury kind of affects my whole spine. Well, I have other injuries too. It wasn't just my neck that got injured. So, yeah. So, but I did get to do a little bit of gardening, and that's fun.
Nice.
In the little community garden.
So all right. So the game, right?
Tell us.
I went with my father-in-law, who's a Bengals fan, and he lives right by the stadium. He lives literally like 3 blocks from the stadium. It's a really great location. But that also meant getting to his like parking garage was hard because it was very congested with walkers and buses and cars and stuff like that. So like that was kind of annoying. But the reason why I mentioned that is because there'd be like moments when I was like at a traffic light for like way too long because of all the cross traffic was like jamming things up. So I was checking Twitter and just kind of like seeing what was going on there while I was waiting, and that's when I saw like the pictures of Simone Biles like rocking a Packer uniform, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see that. So like, that kind of like got me like just jazzed from that moment. For even sitting in traffic, I was like pumped. But anyhow,
that's so great. That was great. And when I saw that too, and you need to continue, but I'm going to interject.
No, go for it.
When I saw that too, I was like, I wonder if Maddie's there yet, and if he saw Simone Biles.
Wasn't. I wish I could have seen her. People have been asking me all week actually if I saw her there. It's like no,
right?
Yeah, because with the traffic and everything, like I ended up we ended up walking like and sitting down in our seats exactly on time. Like we sat down and then I was like, please rise for the national anthem. So it was exactly perfect timing. And it was fun. It was just really fun because, obviously you and I, we spend all this time talking about, reading about, listening about, thinking about the Packers. So it actually like be there watching them, in my city where I live.
Right where you live.
Close from my house. It's close. It was so exciting. Even though it was a preseason game, that didn't matter because of course they started the first string for I think both of the first 2 series, and just to see Jordan Love throw his first touchdown pass as the actual for real QB1, not just like the quarterback starter, which you could say, okay, you know, that was last preseason or the one, you know, the Chiefs game, but like, no, this was like, he's really QB1, and it was awesome. So that was cool. And then, you know, what's his face? The backup quarterback whose name suddenly escapes me, Clifford, right? Sean Clifford, who actually is a local boy. Did you know that? He went to one of the high schools here in town, as did Carrington Valentine, by the way. So 2 local guys.
Yeah.
With Josiah DeGuara, because he went to UC. But anyhow, for, you know, their families to be there in attendance to see them was really cool, because they both played amazingly well. So like,
They did.
You know,
Yeah.
people will be like, "Oh, Sean Clifford's going to be like quarterback 1." That's ridiculous. He's not going to be. He's not.
No.
But
no.
it was really fun watching him. Like, he was really exciting. I think he's definitely going to have the roster spot for QB2. It sounds like that's the way things are looking. I think he kind of earned it, you know, in that game and other preseason practices and stuff. But so it was a lot of fun seeing that. And in fact, the guy sitting with my father-in-law kind of has a connection to that family. So when he found out that we drafted him, he was really excited about it. And then to see him there too was really awesome. So that was cool. And let's see what else about it.
Wow, that's really neat.
By the fourth quarter, you know, it gotten kind of really like, okay, you know, it's fourth quarter of a preseason game. There's not much going on. We have like third stringers out there. So after Emanuel Wilson, you know, ripped off like a second touchdown, we're like, okay, this is super exciting. Like, and I love that we stayed for that much, but there's like 4 minutes left. We left at that point, and so we didn't really miss anything. But yeah, no, it was really exciting to be there. Oh, I was gonna say, and also one of my Twitter friends, Tyler Noy, was there in attendance as well. So I got to meet up with them, got some pictures. Really cool to meet him in person. So that was nice. Or most people who were
Tyler from Illinois.
No, Tyler, his last name is Noy. Maybe New. I'm actually not sure.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, he was one of those like big fans of On Brand and Off Topic. So we were like in that same group chat about that.
Yeah,
podcast. A podcast that is no longer, but the group chat lives on. Quick shout out, by the way, Joe Pearson in the chat here. Hey, Joe.
Iowa Joe and Judy from Judy, the YouTube lawyer who wants to support me and is so kind. And she said she's getting ready for bed. She's on the East Coast too.
That Judy, she's awesome. Yeah,
she's the best.
You talked about her about before. Yeah, no, she's awesome. Very cool. So I know that Joe broke some news in the comment section of a different podcast this week. So Joe, if I can have your permission, if you can just give me permission, I'll share the news with people. But you know, I don't want to take your story there if you don't want me to. So I'll just keep talking for a second. In the meantime,
let us know, Joe.
But suffice to say, you know, just being down there, seeing the Packers, seeing, you know, David Bakhtiari in the sidelines, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was a blast. It was really good fun. And it was an exciting game to be at too, because they scored a ton of points. So
that's neat. David looks like he slimmed down a little bit.
Perhaps. He's a big dude. So
I mean, he's a big dude no matter what, but he does look slimmed down a little bit.
Probably doing a lot of cardio. He's on the exercise bike a lot, you know, on the sidelines. So maybe that's you know, leaning him up. But anyhow, yeah. Okay, so our friend Joe Pearson said in the chat that it's okay for me to tell. So on Lombardi's Bar, Joe let us all know that he and his co-host Nicholas Gregory, who is, you know, from Australia, is fantastic. We did a show with him one time. Nick has to focus on like life stuff now, so he's not going to keep doing the podcast with Joe. So that's a bummer, because they were really good together, great chemistry. But the good thing is that Joe did also reveal a little teaser that he is going to. I think he has in fact a new co-host lined up. Do some rebranding. Probably not another Australian guy, and is going to go ahead and kind of relaunch the podcast. So I'm glad that Joe, I'm glad your voice will still be out there, because you do great work. So excited to see what happens with that. And I'm sure we'll talk about it here on the podcast once that is official.
We will, and give our best to Nick. I'm sure we'll still see him around on Twitter, right?
I hope so. Yeah. I don't think he's just I don't think he's going to the morgue. He's just focusing on life. Right.
Well, it must be hard to deal with the time. Difference between Australia and Midwest, right? Joe is in the Midwest, I think.
Iowa.
Sure. Iowa Joe.
That is his name. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, 'cause remember the night that we recorded with them, it was like we started really late, and then Nick was coming from like school, so like it was very like
Yeah.
weird trying to line things up. So
Yeah.
I totally understand that's a logistical headache for sure. And
Yeah.
so Iowa Joe adds to the comments here. Yep, been working on that tonight. New co-host, new name, new everything, but same good old
Cool.
Joe, of course.
Same Joe. Joe, do you have, it looks like you have a new profile picture here on YouTube. It looks kind of cool. I mean, it's very small, but is that part of it?
I'm
It
looking
looks
at it.
different, I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Very colorful.
We're trying to look at it.
Actually, I don't know if it's
All right, Maddie. Well, yeah. So it was such a fun game. I mean, preseason. The other cool thing is, thank you NFL for finally allowing me to see preseason games from Green Bay out here. And you know what was funny is now it's on the NFL app, okay, and on the laptop too, not just on your phone, which is nice.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was just on the phone still. Oh, okay,
I was
cool.
looking at it, it said all devices, and I was like, oh, all devices. But then when the Chargers and Rams played, which is my local teams, are my local teams, plural, they blocked those. But I was able to get them on CBS, thankfully. I don't have a television, but I was able to stream them on CBS, so, which is weird. But anyway, I was able to get because I did want to see the Chargers and Rams, see what they were up to.
Gotcha. I mean, they're both like really interesting teams right now because the Chargers have a lot of really good components, obviously the quarterback being first among them, but like, can they make a team around that? I don't know. And then the Rams. I don't know. What's the deal with the Rams? Win a Super Bowl and fall apart. I mean, I guess that happens.
Well, they put all their money into that 1 year, and then they're in debt, and so they can't afford much else. So that's kind of how they figured it would be. If
the Packers had done that, Don, would you be happy with that? Like for an extra, Lombardi trophy, an extra Super Bowl ring in the team's collection? Would you be okay with them having done that?
I don't think so, and it doesn't really seem like something the Packers would do.
No, they wouldn't.
And the thing is, with the way that Rodgers choked at playoffs, I don't think it mattered who was around him. So I think, I mean, if they thought they could do it, they would have.
Well, I guess what I mean is like, if they had put all their resources in and had gone all the way, and then were terrible the next year, maybe for years after that. We only have one sample size of 1 year for the Rams so far. But if that had happened and we won the Super Bowl, would you be okay with that? How would you feel about that?
I mean, I'm going to support the team no matter what, but I think I would prefer it if it was more of an even long-term normal planning. I don't think I would want just a one and done and then you're tanked for years to come. That wouldn't have been nice experience. Yeah, if they won. And that's
that's the scenario here. I mean, because it's like it's a really big high, which is awesome, and like you could always when the Bear fans are chirping at you, you can be like, oh, but we just won that Super Bowl. But then you could be bad for a long time, and that's years of just watching terrible football. Like that's not great.
I don't think I would like that. I'd rather be still in the game, still in the running, have a chance, show up, be dignified.
So basically the Packers for the last several years. I mean, last year not so much exactly, but that's what we had. I mean, it's just like you're really kind of asking, like, would you rather have what the Packers have done for many years or what the Rams did? And I mean, that's the thing. We've seen so many great games, even though it didn't end up all resulting in a championship. So I like to watch fun games. I like to watch fun games more than I like to watch not fun games. So,
and in a way, the last Super Bowl was 2010. It kind of seems like that was what happened, right? They got good, and then it was like
couldn't get that good for ever.
They didn't get good until LaFleur came on board.
I mean, because they're good, but it just wasn't good.
Like, better than average.
Yeah, they jumped up with LaFleur a lot, I would say, especially given how things kind of like tailed off with McCarthy. But I don't know. I mean, I wish we had a Super Bowl, but it's been fun watching a lot of good games. I don't know.
Yeah.
Things to think about.
I'd rather have competitive seasons.
Yeah.
I think personally.
I think I'm with you on that. I think I am.
Yeah, that was my question. Yeah, I don't think I would like that. It just goes against. Yeah. kind of goes against the whole, because to me, the sport is year round and you're building and there's ebbs and flows and you're kind of taking yourself out of that equation. So you're almost like giving up for a while. And I don't like that idea. Yeah.
So suffice to say, the Rams might be interesting this year. See what they do too. I mean, last year they had a lot of injuries too. So there was that was part of the equation. But what are they going to be like this year? They have an amazing coach, of course, So
and they have a new quarterback that's going to hopefully take over for Stafford.
Who did they get? I forget who they got. I
forgot their name. I'll have to look. I forgot the name. I watched every single preseason game that was on. It was like for me fall winter, and I was just like, it's the middle of summer and I'm sitting here watching football all weekend. I couldn't help it. But I was still kind of recovering from my 2-week and several days ago injury saving that cat.
That's right.
And by the way, I've been commenting and posting on Twitter like crazy it's been over a month that most of my posts and comments and replies and I think I can I think the like still works. It's really annoying. I mean, so if anyone's like, why didn't she tagged me? If you tag me and I didn't respond, it's because I did and Twitter's not posting it. I have to remember not to use it from my phone because it seems to be worse when I use it from my phone.
That's so strange.
I haven't had any messages like, oh, you've been blocked or you've tweeted too many times or anything like that. It's just I don't know. I probably need to reload the app or do something different.
Something like that. Who knows? So Stetson Bennett, by the way. Stetson Bennett is the guy who they drafted.
Oh, thank you. Stetson Bennett. What a name.
I know, right? Doesn't it sound like the villain in an 80s movie from like the preppy camp across the lake or something? Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett. There's another name I really like. What is it? Young quarterback. Oh, I'll think of it. It'll come to mind. There's a couple really great names out there right now.
There always are. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Jordan Love is the best name, though.
It's the best. It's the prettiest.
It's so nice. It's so nice. 2 syllables, 1 simple. Iowa Joe says Twitter sucks. I'm hoping they open up Blue Sky. To everything. It's a nice app. Blue Sky. I haven't. Do you use that, Matt?
No. I'm really set in my ways with Twitter right now, and I might someday jump ship, but right now, just like I watch other people do it and then come back all the time. So it's like I don't know.
Right. We'll see. We've got an interesting year ahead of us.
Yeah.
With the world.
With the world. Yep. Yeah, that's a good
the world. Yep. So I have a bunch of superlatives tonight.
You want to get to them? Should we get going on them?
Sure. I'm want ready. To?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you bring 3?
I got 3, like usual.
I have more, so I'll start.
Ooh. Well, bring in the heat tonight, Dawn. Look out.
So the first one, I was so into football last weekend. So the first one is to Dusty Evely. I'm sorry. He's a repeat superlative here, and you guys might get bored of that, but there's a good reason, right? Because he came out right away, pretty quickly after the first preseason game, the one that Matt went to. And it's on YouTube. His YouTube will be linked. Every Jordan Love throw from that first preseason game.
That was awesome.
And it's a film review. And I just I've really just focused. And it's like, what can I learn? And it's just so good. And I learned a lot. And then I went on to his Packers film room, Emanuel Wilson on passing downs. So that was good too. So if you want to learn a couple little tidbits about football, just so you can appreciate it a little bit more, if that's what your gig is, then Dusty Evely on YouTube is the way to go. He also has a Substack. Does he have a Substack?
He does a Substack, yeah. Substack. Good one.
So, yeah.
And he also did a video on all of Sean Clifford's throws. It was 40 minutes, a deep dive into that. My goodness, that was. This is going to sound like I'm being sarcastic. I'm not. It was riveting. It was very, very interesting.
I haven't seen it yet. I will be seeing that one next.
It's funny, actually, if I can kind of take over the driver's seat for a second on talking about Dusty this week. It's funny because on Lombardi's Bar, Todd ended up doing a buy a drink or buy a round for Dusty, and went on like this like 5-minute like love fest about him. And I was like, so as it was happening, I was like texting Dusty. I was like, hey man, you got to check out Lombardi's Bar this week. They're just throwing the love at you. And then like the next day, I was listening to, actually been later that night, I was listening to Blue 58 from earlier in the week, and John Meerdink for like a minute was talking about like how deranged Dusty must be to do this 40-minute video of like Sean Clifford's work. And it was funny because like, he says it like in like a very respectful, loving way, but he's like, I think there might be something wrong with him. I think he might be sick in the head or something like that. It was very funny. That and sent that to Dusty. And so now us, we're talking about him tonight. It's a big week in podcast mentions for our good friend Dusty Lee.
Yay, Dusty! Okay, so what's your first superlative?
All right, sorry, caught me drinking there. So my first one is, mine are kind of thematic. I think you'll start to see the theme as they unspool tonight. So my first one is best new writer reporting. And this is Greg Meinholz, our friend Greg, because he started doing the game recaps for Cheesehead TV. And of course, remember, this is a thing that Sarah Kelleher was doing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who did it last season.
I forgot last year too. Sorry.
Because Sarah wasn't doing it last season. Hers were, of course, fantastic. But Greg has picked up the ball, as it were. His first one came out after the Cincinnati game. It was very good. It was a real good, thorough like rundown of what happened. So it's fun to read this because it's like rewatching the game in a way. So Greg did fantastic work. His first time out, couldn't be more impressed with the work he did. So looking forward to reading those every week. Nice work, Greg.
Nice. I will check it out. I saw that he wrote it, and I haven't checked it out yet. But that sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, he's a great writer. So
yeah.
What do you got for your next one, Dawn?
My next superlative is highest grade. And that goes to Andy Herman's grading system. So Andy Herman put out a tweet. I think somebody asked him, could you explain how you use your, So Andy Herman grades, I think, for every game, right?
Yep. He doesn't usually do preseason, but this year he's like
every player for every game. And this year he did preseason, right? And someone asked him, well, how do you do it? And it's really kind of simple. And I never thought to ask him how he did it. So he did go into it. And so if you want to see that, there will be a link for Andy Herman's grading system, how he does it. And then also on the theme of film review, as in Dusty Everly, he did a nice Packers versus Bengals film review. So he did do a film review. He doesn't show it, like break it down in the way that Dusty does. He just see the verbal part. We don't have audio. We have audio, but not video. And that was really good. And then he also did a really fun post-game show. And I really appreciated his enthusiasm and he had fun. I mean, he didn't go to the game either or the practice. And
he was not in town. It's true.
His enthusiasm was so fun because I was like, why am I having so much fun? Because it's a preseason game. I don't remember it being this fun, but it was just a fun game. It really was. It was the game tonight, by the way, I'm not watching. I put it on for a few minutes. I as a rule, don't watch the Browns.
Oh, it's the Browns.
Out of principle. But I did have it on for a while, so I could hear it. And it just seemed like every 5 seconds they were turning it over. It was just like all mistakes. It was just kind of, which could be fun too.
It's kind of fun.
Like watching Little League or whatever. But anyway, So,
who are the Browns playing tonight?
The Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles.
Oh,
wow. I might watch some of that after we're done. We'll see. But
yeah. So best grade highest grade goes to Andy Herman. Most helpful was Dusty, and highest grade to Andy. What do you have, Matt? Next, I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah. So remember, my first one was best new writer reporting. This is best new writer creative. It's not actually a totally new writer that wrote some stuff last year. I think maybe worked last year. But anyhow, this is our friend Sandwich. She's writing, I think, more this season for Acme Packing Company, which she's been involved with, I think, for about a year now-ish. And so anyhow, she wrote an article that was the beginner's guide to buying a Packers jersey. And I liked it a lot because, like, there's a lot of ideas and, like, sort of, almost like etiquette out there about how to do this without looking like a douche, basically. She brought a lot of those thoughts together. Of course, she's really funny and creative, so like there was a lot of funny stuff interspersed. It was surprisingly informational for the kind of thing you'd expect, but informational but also funny at the same time. So we love Sam. She's awesome. So
it was great. It was great.
You saw that?
I did read it. Yeah.
It was a quick read too, which was nice. So great work, Sam. I loved it.
Yeah, a great, different, like unique, and with her unique approach as well. Very nice, very nice. So, biggest overreaction. Ooh. And this goes to the quarterback school.
Yeah, go ahead. JT O'Sullivan, right?
Yes. Jordan Love preseason week 1 analysis. And so I was doing a lot of film review and analysis this week because I really want to get off on the right foot, because it kind of I didn't do much this off season. I feel like I have some catching up to do.
I love your headset done. This is awesome.
Yeah. So it was kind of cute because he came out right away with this, and he said that so many people were requesting it, and he was pretty impressed. I have to say, just in general, the prior to the game, the week before the first preseason game, as well as after, with the exception of somebody whose initials are CC, who I won't mention.
Not Chris Collinsworth, not him.
No, not Collinsworth. The press, the national press for Jordan Love has been so positive and encouraging. I think they've really embraced him, and as well as the quarterback school did as well, O'Sullivan. So, but he did it from an analytical standpoint. So it was nice. Yeah, and it wasn't, he was massively great and all that. It was play by play. What most of the, from Dusty to Andy to JT, it's about his decision making. I think that most people are saying is pretty flawless. He might not get every throw perfect right away off the bat. And we know no one does, even the best. So it was nice. It was nice. And so he just thought, he started with the overreaction thing. And so I thought that was cute. Yeah. So worth watching. But I did really notice, just in the headlines and the few little podcasts that I caught, the national ones whom, just sort of come through my feed, that it's been overwhelmingly positive toward Jordan Love. I don't know how long it'll be that way. Not counting on it, but
so except for CC, it has been very positive. It's true.
That's right. And I thought it was interesting how people really focused on the one negative. It's like, dude, there's so many positives, that we could be retweeting. We don't have to retweet the one negative.
That's
dude.
Right.
Who just did it for attention anyway,
That's his brand, exactly.
It's his brand, and yeah. Anywho, so that is my third superlative. What do you have?
I was just gonna comment on it real fast. JT O'Sullivan his stuff's amazing. I was laughing when you said it, because on Reporting is Eligible, Matub and Paul Noonan were talking about like getting in like Twitter arguments with JT O'Sullivan.
Oh, really?
Kind of stated like, everyone has to do it at some point. It was just really funny. They were kind of going on and out about it for that. But so it made me think of that moment on their podcast this week. Side shout out, Reporting is Eligible.
Yes, side shout out.
If you're not listening to that, folks, you're missing out. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Really good. Yeah. So anyhow, my third actual superlative though is, remember we had best new writer, reporting, best new writer creative, and this one is best new voice. So this week, I learned how to pronounce his name.
Good.
Amar Desai is his name. It was always Amar in my head.
I always thought it was Amar.
That's what it looks like, but it's Amar. Rhymes to summer, he says. So Amar Desai was on both Quick Slants with Jason Perone, who we love, and also was on Lombardi's Bar. And so, like, being in two shows that I love in the same week, I got like a big dose of the guy, and I just gotta tell you, like, he was fantastic. Like, he was full of good takes and energy and, like, liveliness. Was just like he was just totally on both those shows. I was really impressed. He filled in for Jimmy Christensen on Lombardi's Bar, and he was just like a guest with Jason, because usually Jason Prono's show is like a solo show. So yeah, I really enjoyed getting more of a peek into the mind of Ummer, getting to know him a bit from that, because I should mention, I'll hit again this a second, but I'm actually going to be the producer for Lombardi's Bar going forward. But so it's kind of there in the background of the episode on Wednesday this week. So yeah, I was very impressed. Ummer, man, I should say, spoiler alert, we're going to actually have Ummer on the show in a few weeks, coming up pretty soon. So
very shortly. I think
it's good to meet him kind of briefly on Lombardi's Bar, and really excited to when we get to have him on our show ourselves to keep his momentum going.
Yeah, he's making a splash lately.
He is. I know.
Splash, splish, splash.
Making a splash. I love that.
Rubber ducky, you're the one.
Oh wow, there we go.
Okay.
You make podcasts, lots of fun.
Here we go. All right. I have two more, actually. I'm cheating this week. Nice. So one more is football related. I actually, I could save this one, but I'm not gonna. Now that I said that, I can't. Okay.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag. Most musical.
Okay.
And that goes to Justin Tucker, the Ravens kicker. Really solid kicker. You know about this? Do you know about this?
No, about the music thing with him? No.
OMG.
What?
Justin Tucker sings opera.
What?
And very well. Very well. No joke.
Okay.
He does some other things too. But I mean, I caught one thing. I don't know how I picked it out. Oh, probably they mentioned it because that's one of the things I do when I watch all these games is I try to listen to the halftime show where they feature or they talk about things like this that you wouldn't normally know about another team's player. So you're not like following that closely.
Yeah.
You get to know like who does ballet and who sings opera and who does all kinds of stuff. So, so it was kind of cool that they mentioned it, and I did some research on it, and I found quite a bit. He's been on the Today Show. NF Films has done a long piece on this. I'll share the links. And there's a really cool, like, unprofessional home type video, somebody from their phone recording him singing Ave Maria. With the concert artists of Baltimore, this big, huge church, and it was really beautiful. He had a choir behind, with him, and it was quite nice. He got a standing O. So yeah, you're gonna love this. So there's actually gonna be 3 links in the description after the show to Justin Tucker's musical talents.
That's
quite
fun.
Right.
I know
it's fun.
Justin Tucker.
I thought you'd know that.
I feel like he has this sort of like this weird aura. You're like, this guy's an amazing kicker, which is a strange thing to specialize in. And to be that good in is like kind of, it's very unusual. Maybe I shouldn't say weird. It's very unusual. But I feel like if you're to be like, he's an opera singer and also he practices the dark arts. That's right. He's an evil magician. I'd be like, it kind of fits somehow. Yeah,
he does some other stuff too. I picked up in some of these videos. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were, but yeah. So that's a little bit of the fraternizing with the enemy theme that I like to do. So, and I think you remember I did a while back previous Ravens mensch. And I mean that as a mention and because he's a mensch. Mark Andrews, my favorite tight end. I love him.
So it was the tight end, wasn't it? Exactly.
Because he wears an insulin pump. He has to manage his diabetes, which is very serious throughout the games, throughout practice and all that. So Ravens has some interesting people on their team, very dimensional, multi-dimensional.
Interdimensional, maybe even. Yeah, because as Joe said in the chat here, trying to raise Cthulhu. Exactly, Joe. That's what I'm talking about, man. Some practitioner of the dark arts, bringing back the old gods.
Oops.
Interdimensional. Trying to raise.
Wow.
Exactly, there it is. You get it.
Wow.
You get it.
Freaky. Okay. So my last one, Emma, it's a shout out to me. It's actually a shout out to this channel. Because you're always asking me to do this more.
Yes.
Okay. So I yesterday on this channel, and I really encourage everyone to it's really quick. It's like 20 minutes. I read an indictment, okay, a federal grand jury indictment. They came down last week. And it's about, and the reason I want everyone, whether you have kids or not, grandkids, nieces, nephews, you're associated with kids, you know, we all are at some level. There's been such a huge uptick in crimes against children and young ones through the internet, so cybercrime, but also it's international cybercrime. And there are people who really know what to do to get kids in a lot of trouble. And unfortunately, they're actually encouraging suicide. Like if the kid doesn't pay them the money and all that, there are kids killing themselves now. It's serious, serious. Sorry, but it's so freaking serious. I had to make a big deal out of it by going online yesterday and reading the indictment, because I've been seeing interviews of these parents, and it was like I saw one and then I saw another, and I'm like, this is really a big thing. And they're like, this is really a big thing. It's a big thing for the FBI. I pay attention to like scammers. There's videos, there's hackers that have YouTube channels where they're catching scammers, and it's kind of fun because you're seeing justice, and they find out when, but there's scams against older people, married people, single people, and people. What happens is when they get involved in this, they feel ashamed and they don't want to tell anyone about it. And so as a child, and children are not mentally and emotionally prepared to manage this kind of situation. And I'm just going to say, in that video, I have in the description some really great resources from the federal government on how you can educate yourself as a parent about what to look for. But putting, parental controls on your internet and their phone and all that isn't enough. So the two big takeaways I got is, number one, you just basically cannot let anyone under 18 at this point use any type of internet on their phone or computer, whether they're doing it for school or whatever, in a room like their bedroom or the basement. It has to be out in the middle of your living room where you can monitor them. Number one, less likely to have a problem, but you actually have to monitor them. Okay. And then the second one is, so what happens is people are like, they're having this false sense of security. Oh, I've got my kid locked down. I have the Apple, so this is locked down, and that's great. But kids know how to get around that kind of stuff. They can disguise getting Instagram on the side and things like that. And then the other thing is, what was the other thing? I forgot. There was another really good takeaway, but I have it in my video. So, and I'm doing a 3-part series. So I read the indictment last night, and it's not a long indictment, but it's really sad. And there are 3. As to this particular indictment, there are 3 men who have been extradited from Nigeria to the United States to face charges, to go on trial, to be a federal trial. But for every 3 men, there's hundreds of victims. Sure. And the reason I got privy to this indictment is that I was watching an interview of a father of a child who was 17 years old. He was in Upper Michigan in Marquette. Isn't that where
Big B?
Yeah,
he's somewhere near there, isn't he? Is that where he's from?
I think so. They'll go through like the whole, like they'll get information of all the schoolmates and friends and all that. Okay, so this kid, he was on the football team. He was good looking. He's homecoming king, all the things, all the things. Very open relationship with his mother and father. They're planning on going on vacation. He's all excited about it. And that night he got contacted by these men disguising themselves as a cute girl. Because they got these fake accounts. And convincing him to send pictures of himself and then turning the tables and saying, if you don't want these pictures shared with your family, because they know his family's important to him, wholesome, all-American kid kills himself that night.
Oh my God.
Gone. And it's not unique. It's happening more and more. And they're actually encouraging it. If you hear this indictment, I had a hard time getting through even reading it. And I read it before I read it out loud on the internet, on my channel. I was just like, it's so devastating.
Yeah.
So anywho, sorry for the lecture, but I think it's so important.
There you go. It's an important issue. It's worth the time and the dealing with the bummerness of it, let's say.
The bummerness. Well, and it came up in our conversation, didn't it, a couple weeks ago? I don't know if it was online or if it was after hours.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. I don't remember. Yeah.
With I think it was with one of our guests. Yeah. So really important stuff. And I just know so many kids who use the internet, and it's like, but it's getting worse. And then with artificial intelligence, they're not even going to have the kids sending them pictures, right?
Seriously.
It's going to say, here's a picture of you. Look at this. We're going to send it, right? So, I mean, they can do that now with Photoshop.
Well, that's true.
And it'll blow people, like kids that are trying to be perfect and trying to please everybody. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did not hear it though.
Sorry.
And Dawn just had the Sturgis bike rally outside of her window there. So.
I mean, just the one. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Love the beach. Anywho, so most important, that grand jury indictment. I posted about it yesterday. Probably didn't go on Twitter because Twitter doesn't like to post anything that I post anymore. But whatever. I guess we can't call them tweets. They're calling them posts.
Oh, yeah, I hate that. Yeah,
I know.
Now
I'm calling it posts.
Like repost or whatever. Tweet. It's still tweet.
Yeah, and I know what Joe was saying. They do the same thing with elders. Yeah, that's how I really got in tune with this. There's a couple of great YouTube channels that are exposing that and educating people about that. They, people lose their husband or wife and they come in and they're like, oh, I want to make friends with you. And they put a nice picture of somebody else. And what they're doing is they're hacking other people's accounts and making. So if you get hacked, you're like, oh, I just got duped. I just got duplicated on the internet, I'm sure. And it's so sad. And elderly ones, or even not even that elderly. Some of them are, you'd think they'd know better, but they're old enough to know better. So it's not just kids, as Iowa just says. Sure. And they're giving away their entire life savings, their retirement accounts. They're losing their homes. It's unbelievable.
I've heard of some of those, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
bad. It's terrible. Some bad people.
It's really terrible. But I'm mostly like blown away about children and just how important it is to really safeguard, their minds right now with their use of the internet. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's fun. No, most important. It was most important. I left it for last. It wasn't supposed to be fun. But that's that, it just meant a lot to me. It really grabbed me. I mean, back in the day, you could be, and even today, you can be picked up off of the street. You can be duped that way as well. But it's even worse now because people can literally come into your home and you don't even know it and take your kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie.
Well,
so any final thoughts? We have a guest next week. Let's talk about our guest next week.
Who do we have next week? Who's booked for next week? Who is it?
We have an amazing guest next week, and her name is Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Mary.
Yes, I'm excited about that.
Tell us about Mary. How did you get to know Mary?
How did I get to know Mary? Well, she just reached out and said, hey, can I be on your show? And I was like, yes.
Exactly. And you can do that too. If you're listening and you'd like to be a guest on our show, you can be like Mary.
Just ask. We love it.
And just reach out and you can be a guest. And we're looking forward to her. And she's becoming, I think she's occupational physical therapist or something along those lines. But yeah, she's a great Packers fan. And that's what we love. And so we're going to learn more about Mary. And tonight is episode 50 of our second year. And we're going to have Mary, and then we have Johnny Barks.
Oh, that's
Tom
exciting. Yep.
Grassi's sidekick. And then...
No. Tom Grassi is Johnny Barks' sidekick.
Oh, okay. That's true.
Let's get that right.
And then we're going to have... It's not Amar, it's Umar.
Umar. Rhymes with summer.
Umar.
Yep.
Okay. So we have 3 fantastic guests lined up for the next 3 weeks. And that will take us in. Amar will actually be our 3rd year.
He's gonna. That's the premiere episode of the 3rd season.
1. Yes.
Nice. Almost
nice.
Season 3, folks.
Season 3 is coming up in season. That means Packers football is coming up, and the rest of the teams. So, Maddie, let's bring her home.
Yeah, let's bring her home. So, friends, as I'm finding the end of the show script here, friends, isn't it great? Isn't it football? It's been so great chatting with you tonight. Oh my goodness, Dawn, I love talking to you. Friends, of course, you'll find new links in our new links. No, just regular links. You'll find links in our show description for everyone we mentioned. So please check it out. Also, we'd love to have a chance to interview you, like Mary, and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan, or just one like or the other. You know, if you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right. Because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.